Welcome into 5 Wide. Today's video breaking down the NFC Championship game between the Eagles and 49ers. A very big matchup, obviously, for both of these teams. For the Eagles, looking to get back to the Super Bowl for quite a few years. The 49ers, same thing goes there. So we'll get into this matchup, betting lines, where we're lying in terms of who we want to back in this game. But today's video brought to you by BetFred. Massive news, Sandy. They actually paid out the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. Already paid it out, even though they haven't played the NFC Championship game. So some nice money in people's pockets if they were betting it at BetFred.
I saw, and they're giving line. They're like the only book to give it at like plus 300 too.
Yeah, so the Bengals
like,
win the Super Bowl.
It's sweet. They paid everyone out, and they said, hey, if you haven't gotten in, we'll give you the best odds on the market. So BetFred, you know, for the bettors, man. They're for the bettors. Love to see it. Love to see it.
They're the official partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. So if you're watching this and you're in Ohio, definitely go check them out. Or if you're in any legal state that they're in as well. If you sign up, deposit $50, bet $50, you get $111 in free bets as well for the first 4 weeks of your account. Every week you get $200 in bet insurance. So for any losses that you have during the week, you'll get 50% of your losses back, up to $200 each week for 4 weeks. So go sign up. That link is down below in the description. Let's get into this game, though. The Eagles have been 2.5-point favorites ever since the lines opened. We haven't really seen much movement there. The total set at 46.5. Vast majority of the bets on the Eagles, 76% of bets, 60% of bets actually on the under, I noticed, which was interesting. Let's start with the 49ers offense and Brock Purdy. And is Brock Purdy going to take the Niners to the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's funny because I have been like notably fading the Niners and Brock Purdy. He's been got to his credit, like not turning the ball over as of late, throwing touchdowns.
Last wanting to turn the ball over, but they haven't been turned over.
He's been trying. It's almost like he's trying to turn it over, but he hasn't been. He didn't have any touchdowns or interceptions last game, but before that, he was throwing he had a couple 3 TD games, no interception games. So got to give him the credit there. One thing for me in this game though is you look at some of the trends with rookie quarterbacks in conference championship games. He's now going to be the 5th rookie quarterback to start a conference championship game. The other 4, 0-4 straight up in their 4 matchups. So the other quarterbacks.
Everybody knows that, it seems like, right?
Everyone. So the 4 quarterbacks were Sean King, who I don't really know who that is, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and Mark Sanchez with the Jets back in the day.
I did see that.
So they all 4 lost. Brock Purdy would be the first rookie in a conference championship game to win. So looking at that way, like I got to give Brock his credit, but for me, I still have my doubts, and he's played in big moments, but this is the biggest of his career, man.
Yeah.
Going to the Super Bowl, all that on the line. Obviously the 49ers probably have the best supporting cast in the NFL around a rookie quarterback. I'll say that. Probably the best system to play in for a rookie quarterback as well. So got to take that into account. But I have my hesitations with Brock Purdy specifically. Not as much about the team, but I think that will play a big factor. Like how if he steps up and plays like he's been playing, I think the Niners have a fantastic chance to win this game. But I think if he slips up and some of those balls that he threw last week that could have been turnovers, that will change this game. So that's kind of how I look at it. But interested to hear what you think.
I think that the big thing for me here is I do think this is actually a better matchup, believe it or not, for San Francisco than I think the Cowboys were. Obviously, the Eagles have been a tremendous pass rush all season. They have the highest sack rate in the NFL. I think they're historically one of the best teams getting after the passer in the league. But great offensive line, like the Niners. We saw the highlights of Trent Williams just absolutely dominating Micah Parsons at the line of scrimmage. I was looking, and I do think that the Niners will look to run the ball a fair bit in this game because everybody talked about the Eagles being a bad run defense this season, but it was, oh, wait till Jordan Davis is back. Like then they'll be a much better group. I was looking since Jordan Davis' return, which was week 13, or he came back in week 13. They've still been 29th in EPA per rush attempt. So I think the Niners will be able to run the ball successfully here. And I do think being able to do that is definitely going to help Purdy. I mean, he doesn't need to push the ball down the field because he's got so many guys talented and with the scheme to be able to create yards after the catch and make plays after the catch because there's so many options for them to go to.
Yeah, I mean, a guy even like looking at like a guy like Elijah Mitchell, like I think he's in store for a good week here too.
Yeah.
Like I know
they're using him a lot.
They are, and they're flexing McCaffrey out in the slot, like they're moving him around, which has worked so well for them. I think they're obviously going to continue to do that against this Eagles team. But I mean, I like Elijah Mitchell. I don't know what his line or his props are set at, but I would lean to his over on his rushing yards, as you said. I think if they're going to,
McCaffrey went for only 35 last week too,
and he had what, 6 catches, right?
Yeah,
so
he only had 35 rushing yards. So yeah, Mitchell could be pretty involved, especially like they like to go to him inside the 20, especially too. But I really like what they can do in the ground. Obviously, the other thing is with the Eagles is that they're very they're probably the best. I would say Darius Slay and James Bradbury have been the best duo in the NFL.
100%, they've been awesome.
So I would expect to see the Niners to look to make less plays downfield and give these guys opportunities to like make interceptions, make big plays. I would look for Debo and McCaffrey to be heavily involved in the run game, and then also the slot. They've really struggled against the slot. They've been one of the worst teams in the NFL. So props wise, I mean, they kind of split all of the different guys running the slot, like Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and then Juwan Jennings run a lot of the slot. Juwan Jennings, the majority of his routes are from the slot. So look to target there. I wanted to note this as well because, again, we talked about the Eagles' ability to generate pressure. Purdy against pressure this season. 47% completion percentage, 21st in the NFL, not great, but 6.6 yards per attempt, 7th. I think that's a testament to what they can do after the catch.
Yep.
And then the 4th best passer rating and the 4th lowest turnover-worthy play rate. So he's actually been pretty good under pressure. Limited sample size, not a ton of games, but still pretty solid. So I do think that the 49ers will actually be able to have some success if they avoid targeting Slay and Bradbury as much as other teams have.
I agree, and you've seen like George Kittle come on, like he's been huge for that team as well.
Especially with Purdy at QB.
Especially with Purdy, because I think that's where you look at it, because we talked earlier in the year about like I was always a Jimmy Garoppolo fan for the specific reason that he was a great game manager and he probably didn't have a ton of turnover-worthy plays either. He ran that offense well. I think Brock Purdy runs it almost as good as he does, if not better, and I think Brock Purdy has shown that he can throw it when he needs to throw it, right? Big moments, key third downs. Like, again, they have the most talented, they have a very talented cast, that said, but I think the play action is set up so well. It's very creative play calling. So I think that will continue. But again, it's really, for me, the key thing is Brock. Is he able to step up and make those key throws on those third downs? You know, on the play action, is he able to execute and not make, you know, turnover-worthy plays? I think those are the two things that I look for. But again, you can always count on the 49ers to run the ball and get the ball in the playmakers' hands. Like, they have so many guys that it's almost like, who do we focus on, right?
Yeah.
So
I definitely think it's going to be I remember in like late in the game against Dallas, everybody was shocked that they were throwing the ball when they were looking to kind of kill clock. It's because they have faith in Purdy, but they also have faith in the scheme that they've built for whoever is at quarterback. So
100%. Definitely
friendly. Okay, let's move to the Eagles offense. I think this is a big thing I wanted to note, and I think it's going to be in my pick, in my best bets for tomorrow's video. The Eagles offense, everybody thinks of it as very much run first. But I always thought when I watched Eagles games, I was always shocked at how much they threw the ball early on, like in the first half. So I looked at some of these numbers. The Eagles are actually, they're 28th in pass rate overall in the season, but they actually have the 6th most pass attempts in the first half, and they're both the most explosive rushing team and the 3rd most explosive passing team in the first half, and they're 3rd in EPA per pass in the first half.
Wow.
So I'm actually thinking I'm going to target like a first half over.
I was going to say, yeah.
Because like I said, I think the Niners will actually be successful running the ball, and then maybe things tighten up late in the game. We get second half adjustments, blah, blah, blah. But how much faith do you have in Hurts, obviously with the shoulder injury, to be able to likely lean on him because how good the Niners run D is? And I know a lot of people have a lot of respect for the 49ers pass defense, but I do think it's a much weaker unit compared to how good they are against the run. And like Miles Sanders is a decent back, but I don't think he's one that's like very high above average in terms of being able to create yards after contact, et cetera, et cetera. So how much do you trust Hurts in this game?
It's funny because it's like you look at Purdy and I say I'm still questioning and not trusting him fully. I trust Jalen Hurts more. I know, again, not a huge playoff resume for either QB, so that's why I'm kind of excited for this matchup. It's gonna you could definitely make a case for both sides. I think Jalen Hurts, like obviously he hasn't been making as many plays with his legs. I know he had a rushing TD last game. I look for him to be really active with his legs, like extting plays and stuff like that. I think that's where he's been good. You probably have some numbers to support that, I would assume. But I definitely think if he stays within himself, like not making crazy like across the field throws, nothing to get himself in trouble, which he hasn't been doing all year. I think, the Eagles, I trust Jalen Hurts much more in this game against the Niners defense that has been cut up in the past game a few weeks. Like we've seen it. They're like Fred Warner might be the best.
I mean, if Dak Prescott didn't throw those absolutely god-awful interceptions, they'd be putting up a heck of a lot more points
100%
than they did last week.
Yeah, and last week was like you mentioned the first half total over, you were thinking like every game last week went under, I'm pretty sure. Like it was an unders weekend. The week before, a huge overs weekend. So I think the numbers you supported there in the first half, yes. Like how many times have you seen like a Devonta Smith or or Jalen Hurts just hucking it downfield early in the game,
Yeah,
and 9 ball to AJ Brown.
Exactly.
Like I see it. I feel like I see that every week. So I definitely think they're going to come out hot and try to air the ball out. That's where you can take advantage on this Niners defense. Again, a very, very solid unit at the end of the day, but you're not going to beat them by running the ball down their throats. That's just not how you're going to win a football game against the Niners. So I do trust Jalen Hurts in this matchup, and I think he will be able to be dynamic with both his legs and in the in the pass game.
Yeah. So I'm looking at I think that's a big point because obviously we know the Niners have a pretty good pass rush, like between obviously Bosa, who might be the defensive player of the year, Marik Armstead. They have a good front. They can generate pressure. The Eagles, of course, are a great team in terms of pass protection. Lane Johnson played really well, despite the fact he probably shouldn't be on the field. He's playing through a pretty bad injury. But I do want to note this again because this is where I've always had concerns with Hurts, and it's been I think they've been able to take care of those concerns in the regular season because of how good the pass protection is. But here comes a really tough matchup. Everybody talked about during the season how the Eagles' strength of schedule was pretty soft. This is one of the best pass rushes in the league. Hurts under pressure has not been very good this year. Brock Purdy's been better, believe it or not. 43.9% completion percentage, 28th in the NFL. 5.3 yards per attempt, 29th in the NFL. Passer rating that ranks 20th in the NFL, and the 10th lowest turnover-worthy play rate. So been okay, like being able to take care of the ball. I think adding AJ Brown definitely helps in terms of how competitive he is on like those contested catches. But this could be your one thing you point to of late game pass. If they're in a position where the Niners are pinning their ears back because they're leading and they know the Eagles are going to have to go to the pass, like can he make plays in those pressure situations if the pass rush is closing in? That's going to be my big question.
Those numbers are pretty eye-opening. Like honestly, I didn't even I knew he wasn't up there, but that's pretty polarizing when you look at it that way. I mean, that's what they want to do too. The 49ers are going to want to get pressure on you, 100%. And they can do that with a 4-man rush. They've done it all year. So even without blitzes and stuff like that, something you still want to take into account. But yeah, great analysis there. I agree with you.
It'll be interesting. So what do you want to take in this game if you were taking a side or even the total?
The way I bet is I hate going with the heavy favorite. I know looking at the Niners, they've been heavy favorites, like betting wise. People have been all over the Niners in the last couple of weeks. This is rare. You haven't seen this, especially with Brock Purdy under center. You have not seen this with the Niners. So I mean, I told you, I said I just trusted Jalen Hurts more, but I think this Niners defense is they're just a better unit than Philly's. I actually do lean the under, funny enough, but I haven't locked that in. I'll probably ride the Eagles minus the 2.5. I want to get that number before the 3. I think the Eagles come out and make a statement game. As much as I say I hate riding with the public, it's one of those things where I'm taking Jalen Hurts, a guy that, MVP candidate, guy who's been playing well all year. Not to say Brock hasn't either, but
so still a rookie. Like it's tough to expect a Super Bowl appearance from someone who last week I did think we saw like some problems. Obviously they made it out with a win, but they did score 19 points and I thought there were some turnover worthy plays that just didn't turn out to be turnover worthy. And the Eagles are definitely a team that can take advantage of that. Like I mentioned, Slay and Bradbury are very, very, very good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So but you said you like the 49ers offenses or roster is more talented. Like I would say the Eagles is.
We had this debate. Like pass catching wise,
I could give the 49ers an edge. I think like skill position players, but I'd probably say I'd take the Eagles front. I mean, their ability to stop the run is definitely a problem. I would take the Eagles secondary, no doubt.
For sure.
Undoubtedly.
That said, but like a guy like Fred Warner, might be the best linebacker in football. I'll go there. Like I think he's an absolute difference maker. He can cover tight ends. Like he's been doing it all year, and he can make plays in the run game. He flies across the field better than anyone I've seen at that position.
Right.
So
I would take the Eagles. I would take the Eagles secondary and the Eagles offensive line because I think it's more complete. Like obviously Trent Williams raises the level of play from that group immensely, but I would take the Eagles. I would take the 49ers front 7. I take the 49ers pass catchers. I take the Eagles secondary, the Eagles offensive line.
It seems like you're pretty split.
And then I'm pretty split because I probably
quarterback you're taking Hurts, obviously, right?
Yeah, I take Hurts. I definitely take I probably still take I might take the Eagles front 4, but I mean Nick Bosa, it's hard to do that. Yeah. But anyways, I kind of like the Niners in this game. But I'm more on the over. I think we're actually going to see some points here. So
yeah.
All right. that is a preview for this game. If you guys are wanting some of our picks and my picks and bets, that'll be dropping on Friday at 5 o'clock. But again, thank you guys for watching. If you guys are looking to sign up and bet on these games this weekend, go sign up at BetFred. The link to sign up is down below. Again, over $1,000 in bet credits from our friends at BetFred, so go check that out. But again, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe, like as well, and we will see you on the next one.